There we go. Yay, it worked. All right, well, why don't we jump in? And can everybody see my screen? Okay, and you must be on mute. Maureen, can you see my screen?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome, thank you. All right, well, let's get started. Good morning again, everybody. On behalf of myself and certainly Maureen and STEM Forward, welcome to our summer water professional development session. We appreciate taking some time out of your busy day, your work day, your summer vacation, the parade route, wherever you might be otherwise occupied, to spend an hour and a half with us. We really appreciate it. We're excited for today's session. I think once again, we've been really fortunate to work with a number of just really great water experts from the education side, from industry, and we're really excited to get to today's agenda. And I'm gonna let somebody in here. There we are. So before we jump into our program, I just wanted to spend just a minute talking about STEM Forward for anybody who's not familiar. We're a small nonprofit dedicated to K-12 STEM education and outreach. We're housed here at MSOE, and we serve primarily southeastern Wisconsin. We implement a number of programs and events and activities for K-12 students. And so I can just highlight a few right here. Excuse me. Contrapt is a middle school program for students who design these fantastic contraptions as they learn about physics and engineering. Future City is another middle school program that challenges middle school students to plan, design, and build a city of the future working with an engineering mentor. So just teasing a couple of our programs if you happen to be a middle school teacher. And over on the event side, I would just put in a quick plug. In a few weeks, we have our annual scholarship golf outing coming up on August 12th at Morningstar. Proceeds for that event helped fund a total of 8 actual scholarships we're giving away this year, as well as support STEM programming. So if you're a golfer, you might want to check that out. But information on all of our programs and our events is at stemforward.org. And advance, there we go. So just a little bit of history about today. Today's session actually is a continuation of water professional development sessions that we've been offering since 2012. So it started as part of a grant partnership with MATC, UWM, Gateway, and ourselves, all around Milwaukee's arrival as a global compact city for fresh water. And we have so much water industry here. The grant originally was around trying to get students interested and aware of all the various education and career paths that relate to water. So we've actually been doing this for 10 years. I think we've held 14 or 15 sessions going back to 2012. Thanks to some support from Pentair, we're pleased that today's session continues and that these water sessions continue in southeastern Wisconsin. All right, just a quick look at today's agenda, and it is absolutely packed. So thank you again to all of our fantastic presenters. We'll kick things off in just a moment with Karen Frost from the Water Council. Just a couple of logistics. If you have a question, please use the chat function, and my colleague Maureen will curate the questions. If time allows, at the end of each presenter's section, we'll have some Q&A where Maureen will ask the questions of the presenters. And then alternatively, if there's time at the end of the session, in total, we'll also have a chance for some Q&A, we hope. And with that, I would like to introduce Karen Frost with the Water Council. Karen.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to be with you all. As Rich mentioned, I'm with the Water Council and I lead economic development and innovation. And I'm really glad to be able to share a little bit about our organization and about what we do with all of you today. So thanks again for having me. Rich, you can go to the next slide. So I'm just kind of, I appreciate being the first to just kind of set the stage with, the fact that, Wisconsin is really recognized as, the US's most densely populated water technology cluster of industry companies. We have nearly 240 companies with 23,000 employed and 15.7 billion in sales. And while this is certainly not the largest industry cluster in the state, it is the one that garners a lot of unique attention on our state. And you'll recognize a lot of the employers, the industry members that are included in that, like Kohler, like Pentair, InSinkErator, A.O. Smith, a lot of legacy companies in our region, Badger Meter and Zurn, that are doing work in the area of water technology. What that doesn't include are the great utility partners and academic institutions that are working in that space. So it really is a very active cluster of industry, academia, utility, and other NGOs. So it's a vibrant, connected cluster within the water space. Can you go to the next slide? So I just wanted to share a little bit about our organization. I mentioned that I lead economic development and innovation. The economic development side of what I do is really linking together companies and practitioners within the industry. So a lot of what I do, I call kind of affectionately the Match.com within the industry. I'm oftentimes linking companies that are in the state with other companies to find and leverage opportunities. I link those outside of the state to our partners and companies within Wisconsin that are doing business. And I link international companies into the Wisconsin water technology sector. So this slide actually shows the background of the Global Water Center. We are fortunate to be a tenant in the Global Water Center, which is an accelerator building dedicated to companies and organizations that are doing work in the space of freshwater. We have, the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee has the entire 7th floor of the building where they're working on, sponsored research and applied research, working with industry, with the engineering, with UWM Engineering, and also with the School of Freshwater Sciences. But we also have tenants like Xylem that just moved into the building, that moved an entire division into the Global Water Center. We have Beckhoff Automation that does work in the water and wastewater space, as well as satellite offices of some large companies like Badger Meter and A.O. Smith that are doing work in the space. I'll talk a little bit about some of our programs, but you can see some of our areas there, and you can go to the next slide, Rich. So on the innovation side of my responsibilities, we actually have a number of innovation focus programs that are supporting innovation in the area of water technology. One of those areas is a pilot program where we put out an annual call for applications for innovators who have prototype scale technology to apply for funding for sites, technical assistance, to actually field test and demonstrate their technology in Wisconsin. And that's really important because on the path to commercialization, companies really have to validate and prove their technologies before they're brought to the marketplace. And for those of you that are in the STEM field, you are certainly aware that water technologies, especially since human health and water consumption or water treatment are key to those. It is a long time until a lot of those technologies get to market. So that pilot program is really essential. On the Tech Challenge side, we actually work with some of our large water technology sponsors, and that includes A.O. Smith, Badger Meter, Watts Water Technologies, and Xylem, to help them source technology on a global scale for innovations that meet specific needs that they're looking for. So we've had topics like energy harvesting for water networks and sensors to detect emerging contaminants. So those are all very targeted and specific to areas of interest for those corporate sponsors. And the Water Council facilitates that challenge and promotes that on a global basis. Can you advance to the next slide? Another innovation-focused program that the Water Council facilitates is an annual post-accelerator program. So, referring back to that first slide where I said, we have those 240 water technology companies in the state that are doing business in all areas of water technology. We also have a program that supports late stage in-market or market-ready companies who those connections and introductions into the marketplace are essential for them moving their innovation in their products and technologies forward into the marketplace. So we've begun this post-accelerator program serving those companies and giving them connections to partners, potential customers, and investors. It's really focused on helping them grow and scale in the industry. And we're fortunate that we actually have the sponsorship of the American Family Institute and now Beckhoff Automation that can help support the program that we offer at no cost to these innovation companies. Can you advance to the next slide? I also mentioned that we work a lot internationally. The Water Council actually has a European representative that works with us and for us, helping to make connections both to partners that are similar to the Water Council. So organizations that are hubs in Europe, as well as trade organizations that work with water technology companies. And the Water Council can actually serve as a soft landing partner for companies that would like to do business in Wisconsin. So that's part of kind of the economic development side of the house. But it also benefits our local companies and our entrepreneurs because there's a lot of, connections that are facilitated in that soft landing, where I'm making connections to our partners and those in the industry that, they might forge new relationships and either, excuse me, bring new products to market in Wisconsin or make economic investment into the state. Next slide, please. And last but not least, what may be of interest to those on the call today, especially, is our work in the talent space. I will say that we've had more robust talent initiatives in the past, but we are mindful of talent and the talent needs of our employers. So the work that the Water Council does in the area of talent are working more with, I'd say, the college population. So students who might be looking for internships and with whom we can connect them to industry. So we actually work with the Freshwater Collaborative. And I know that Liz from UWM and the School of Freshwater Sciences is talking. So I don't know if she may have some comments about the Freshwater Collaborative and that effort in the state. But it's essentially a linkage of multiple of the public campuses and their water-focused degree programs to more intentionally link those students to opportunities throughout the state. And the Water Council would then be a potential pathway to link those students to future internships. Another way that we can help is, since we're connected to all of those great companies that I mentioned, is that we can serve as a linkage to industry experts. We do help facilitate intern site tours and facility tours. So that might be a way that we could intersect with this group. But anyway, we could definitely be a resource for some of you that are on the line today. And I think I might have one more slide. It may just be my contact information.
There we go.
Yes. So it's a pleasure to talk with you all today and just kind of set the stage for how water is a predominant industry and a predominant force and focus in the state. We're so pleased that you're a part of that and that you're working with emerging workforce that we might see through some of, they might be future innovators that might come through the doors of the Water Council. So happy to be part of your Rolodex in the future. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Karen. Fantastic. I appreciate very much the overview. I forget, I was trying to recall, I knew that there was a lot of water industry in Wisconsin, but over 240 companies, just amazing how much opportunity there is here for young folks interested in water. I think we've got 1 or 2 minutes. I don't know, Maureen, if we had a question or any comments from the chat for Karen. Did anything pop up?
Not at this time. If anyone has a question, they're welcome to just go ahead and put it directly in the chat. So I think
Absolutely. So again, certainly for all of our attendees, if you have a question, please utilize the chat function, and we'll make sure and get it right to our presenters. So excellent. Thank you again, Karen. Really appreciate you being part of this again today. Moving on, it's my pleasure to introduce our next presenter. We're also pleased to have back with us this year, Kathy Bates, who is on faculty at Milwaukee Area Technical College. And Kathy. There, sorry.
It's all good. All right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. So yes, I've been faculty member at Milwaukee Area Technical College in Environmental Health Water Quality Technology program for a long time. The next slide's good, Rich. Something about our program that's really unique is that it started in about 1967, 1968. So we've been around a while. And how the program started was because of the water utilities and the health department needed their talent to have higher levels of training and qualifications. So we fit that nice niche at that technician level or that entry level that's beyond high school. And not necessarily needing a higher degree at that point. Certainly for advancement opportunities, many of our students will go on and continue and get their bachelor's or master's, even had 1 or 2 get their doctorates. But you can see that we are out in nature, out in the water. Our students, are maybe straight from high school or coming back to school, from a career and, or finally deciding it's time to go to school. Next slide. Rich.
Let's try again.
Okay. Is it you, me, or you?
It's me.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, the next slide, I can.
I will. I'll reinstitute the share, and maybe on the second try, Kathy. My apologies for this disruption.
No worries. Well, I'll talk a little bit more about the program while we're waiting. So anyways, the program, it is a nice variety program because, so many of the skills transfer between, more the environmental health focus, such as with the health department, food safety, restaurant inspection, food processing plant inspection, things of that area, nuisance complaints, hoarding is environmental health, lead, and so many other issues. So what's really nice is that, a lot of that, the skill sets transfer or cross over between the environmental health focus and the water focus. The other thing is it has made better opportunities for the graduates of our program by having both backgrounds there. Okay.
Rich, would you like me to take over and do the slides?
I'm going to try, and let's just try one more time here.
Okay, because otherwise I can go ahead.
And if so, we can advance to the next slide. That is my former colleague. He recently retired.
Yes, so I apologize. I can see the whole deck, but it is certainly not advancing. Do you have your deck on your laptop handy by any chance, Kathy?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I will you should be clear to share.
Okay. All right. Whoops. Did it look like it was sharing?
Yes,
we can see your
we've got it.
screen.
If you can convert to slideshow view, that would be great.
Okay. And okay. And now you can see the screen, correct?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay, because on my end of the computer, I don't know that it's showing. So I get it if there's some stuff going on. Okay, and I don't know how to get rid of that little thing. Good. All right. So anyways, variety, students, different points of life, K through, my oldest student, I think was like 64. Brother is pretty much 18 through 64. We also have, I don't know if everybody's aware of it in the high schools or even the other folks that are here today too, but there is opportunity that a high school student can take, college courses at MATC. So I've had some high school students taking our courses, and what a great way to get an advanced start on a future career. Uh-oh.
If you just hit page down, that should work, right?
Yay, it is working now. The current faculties, myself and Teresa, and this is at a few years ago, we had our 50th anniversary celebration, which was a really great opportunity. All the graduates come back and share. And you can see, again, on the lower right, a visual of us in our lab room, taking a photo opportunity, you might say. All right, so environmental health, water quality, it's about air, it's about water, it's about our food, and it's about so much more. And which is really important because, no clean air, no clean water, safe food, no us, we're not going to be around. So, we are the ones that are boots on the ground, you might say, and these are very career essential work type of opportunities. For our students in the program, they learn a variety of things using the real world applications, hands-on as far as instrumentation and other equipment, as well as laboratory analysis, following the guidelines set either by EPA, FDA, DNR, or whoever the appropriate agency is for those testing procedures, the results and analysis, and so much more. And bottom line, not just learning how to use this stuff, do those labs, but creating those reports, being able to interpret those results, and helping to assess and help to make sure to promote a healthy environment, as well as restorative, needs as well. So a lot of hands-on experience. We go on a variety of field trips as well. And here's, you can see some of us out on a couple field trips. We even do some community service work. The two in the upper left corner, we're at Humboldt Park, helping with cattail removal for the restoration of that Humboldt Lagoon in that park. And then some other surveys, assessments we're at, or doing some lab analysis. Internship opportunities we have, and we like to see the students take on an internship because it does give that nice connection of what you're learning in a classroom and actually applying it in what your future job might be. I have some students here in the upper right corner. They're at a competition. This was a wastewater competition, and here's an example that they're repairing a broken pipe. Actually, they had to saw through the pipe and then put the adapter on and make sure it was secure, tight seal. The next visual we see, we're doing a beach cleanup because we like to participate in that because, again, water is essential for life and we want it to be clean, healthy water. Essential workers, these are those jobs when everybody else was sent home, and sorry, no work for you today. Our graduates are out there still working. They have to operate the water treatment systems, whether it's for drinking water or for wastewater, or even the essential industrial type of jobs where there's treatment of water in those circumstances. These are some graduates of mine. One, the upper photo is in wastewater treatment. The lower one is at a drinking water environment, drinking water utility, smaller community. So their water treatment, a lot of times now they're trying to turn the name to water reclamation. So it kind of depends which audience you're in. But water treatment covers pretty much if it's drinking, waste, industrial, and so on. Field monitoring, sampling, they have to collect samples out in the field from time to time. May it be for environmental restoration or may it be for permit compliance, such as the wastewater treatment facilities or water reclamation facilities or other things as needed. Food, dairy, safety technician, sometimes they're called sanitarians. Again, our food supplies, our dairy supplies, making sure those are safe. Environmental health specialist, that's the one where you might be wearing several hats, that you're doing everything. You're doing the drinking water, the wastewater, the food safety, the air quality, the lead inspections, and so much more. Environmental lab tech or water chemist lab tech, and so many other opportunities. What I tell my graduates, the students in the program or prospective students, it's like being in a candy store. What do you want today? Because here is like 7 or so different titles, but there's more than 50 different titles as far as occupations. And I can tell you that there's at least 2 to 3 job opportunities per week for a graduate of our program. So the employment is really good. And many of these jobs, if not most of them, are those family livable wages with good benefits yet. Now, there are some jobs they're looking just for LTE, so they're not going to pay a limited term employment. They're not going to pay the higher amount, but most of the jobs are paying a very good wage, and pretty much you can have that job for life. Here's some other aspects, more the environmental health. The visual to the right would be a restaurant inspector or sanitarian or environmental health specialist. The other visuals are more like, environmental health and safety or air quality. But there's so many areas in that field too that our graduates gain those employment opportunities. Here as well, the municipal water treatment plants, environmental laboratories, health departments, the environmental engineering firms, private industries, as well as nonprofit organizations as well, hire our graduates. Again, it's really a great area to get into or get started in this area and move on with further education. Something about that, we do have articulation agreements, so students can move on to their bachelor's degree, and we are in the process of forming more articulate agreements with other colleges. All right, so some of the people might say, hey, I have a student that might be interested. What should they take in high school? It's a great idea if they could take algebra and or geometry. A little more math and just basic math is needed. If they don't have it, they certainly can learn in the program, but it's a little easier if you've had that. Biology or chemistry or environmental science is great. The main thing we really want is for that student to have the interest in this field. It is a type of field that you can feel good about doing because you know that you are helping, your neighbor, your city, your state, the community, the world, because clean air, water, food, all those things relate to daily life. Without those, we wouldn't be living past 35 if we're lucky, because those were some of the reasons that life didn't continue on. Besides other problems in the world, as far as like animals eating you, that would be a funny moment. But it's like, yeah, this helped, having safe water, clean air, safe food supplies has helped to extend, our quality of life. I know you're here for resources too, like what can you take back to the classroom? There are a lot of different things out there available. And here are the links to them. And I'm so happy this is being recorded, or I believe that these slides are shared with the group. So here are the links. There's through the DNR, there's a grant, and that filing date is in the fall usually for a groundwater model. You go to a couple-hour training session. You have to apply, go to a couple-hour training session, and then you get to take home a groundwater model to use in your classroom. USGS, as a United States Geological Service, they have a water sciences school, lots of materials on their website. The same with the EPA, a lot of materials on their website, different activities, project ideas, and lots of interactive things. It's geared K through 12, so they'll normally like tell you which grade level this is designed for. There's the groundwater foundation, because I know a lot of us, we think about Well, at Milwaukee here, we're on surface water, but there's some communities that we're on groundwater. 70% of the state, the people use groundwater for their drinking water. So that's pretty important to know about the groundwater as well. Discover Water is another one, role about water in our lives. You know, if we want to find out more about that, it's surprising about water in our lives because we normally just think about, you know, turning it on the water to drink, take a shower, cook our food, clean our dishes, but there's so much more where water is used as well. Water and Me is some interactive games. Same with matching game for water conserving tips. That's a lot of fun if you like matching games. But these websites all have a variety of things to do. And then I also want to bring to your attention, this is a big collaboration in the Milwaukee area, Freshwater Toolkit and resources, and the web link for that. There is a variety of activities, curriculum, and so much more there at the Freshwater Toolkit and resources. And I apologize because of the time, I don't have more time to spend on some of these. But I know Kay Dunlevy, I think she's here. And if there's opportunity, I'd love for her to maybe use a minute of my time if there's any time left to make mention about that. But it's really a wonderful thing. This collaboration project's been going on for many years, and it's just great resources. All of these are great resources for educators. And okay, once in a while it does get stuck here because I am pushing page down, like as in next slide. Okay, great. There we go. So the next slide is my information. Please, if you have any questions or want further information about the program or activities or to make a site tour or me to come to your classroom and talk about the program or water resources in general, give me a call. I'm certainly available for that. Right now during the summer, best to email me, but that is my information there. Okay.
Sounds good. And just one comment in the chat.
Yes.
From Kay. So Kay, if you want to unmute yourself, you should be able to speak.
Hi there. Hi, I'm Kay Donlevy. I'm actually with the Shorewood Waters Project, but we put this freshwater toolkit together about over 20 years ago now. So we had about 5,000 MPS students and teachers go through this program, and it basically was a beach cleanup. And around that, we built, excuse me, like a week-long series of activities to really ground kids in their local resources and the history. And so by the time they would get out for this beach cleanup, they had a really good, strong foundation, which you could build on and create that passion and that stewardship from. So the freshwatertoolkit.org is a free list of activities. It's not a very long integrated curriculum. It's just some really fun activities that are very targeted, very effective to really build that, just the water basics, the foundation. And then you can do the deeper dives with water quality and tours and other things like that. So it basically consists of the Freshwater 101, which is a 30,000-foot view from Milwaukee's resources to challenges and then to worldwide issues. And it's a nice 45-minute piece that I've given it to second graders and adults. So it's just a really rich, feel good. By the end of the presentation, you realize how lucky you are to live here. So.
Thank you, Kay. That's fantastic. Freshwater Toolkit definitely sounds like something worth checking out for K-12 educators. Kathy, thank you for your presentation. All the excellent programs at MATC and just fantastic resources that you have for teachers. Thank you for sharing that. And I think also exciting to hear about just the opportunities that on a weekly basis, employers are reaching out to you looking for your students essentially for hires, that these are excellent and really viable career paths. So thank you for that. All right, at this point, it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. Delighted to have Liz Sutton, who is the Manager of Outreach Programs with UWM School of Freshwater Sciences, join us. Liz, I can try my deck, which I rebooted, or you are clear to share if you have yours handy. Again, I apologize for the clunkiness on our end.
Whichever works best for you.
Why don't you give it a shot since mine was frozen up, and we'll proceed with you driving. Excellent.
So, okay. Does that work for everyone?
I think you just need to put it in slideshow mode, Liz, if you click on slideshow.
We'll need to take a moment because when I do that, it's going to.
To the
Okay.
over left.
If not, I can drive for you too, if you need me to.
Give me 1 second. It made it too big in my screen, so it doesn't actually give me that, that part that I need.
Would you like me to do it, Liz? It's up to you.
No, it's all right. I just needed to slide things around on my screen here. How's that?
Looks great.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Rich. I always appreciate having a time to come talk with everyone. I had seen that Kathy did such a great job of going through so many good resources. And those are a lot of the ones that we use as well. So I encourage you to check them all out. They're really great programs. So I wanted to kind of go into a little more our things specifically.
Wow.
Certainly we are the School of Freshwater Sciences, and this is our building. It looks a little different now. There isn't quite an empty lot right out front. It is now fairly close to being done large facility for Komatsu. But we have been here, many people are surprised, but the school started as the Center for Great Lakes Studies on the main campus in 1966. In the early 70s, we moved from there to here in the Harbor campus and had our original building. And then in 2009, we started as the School of Freshwater Sciences. At that time, we're the nation's only graduate school dedicated to freshwater science. And then we expanded and opened the new portion of the building in 2014. So we've really been here being a close part of the community right here in the harbor. Our work takes us on all 3 of the rivers in the Milwaukee area, as well as out on Lake Michigan. We also expand out to really anywhere there's freshwater. So our researchers have done work in Yellowstone, in the lake there, in Lake Bacalar, Mexico, on Lake Malawi in Africa, Lake Baikal in Russia. So it really expands wherever there's freshwater, we want to be able to connect it. And we are strongly rooted in research. We do a lot of work, some of the stuff that you would normally think of us doing, you know, what is going on with the ecosystems and the food systems in Lake Michigan. That gets into invasive species and a whole variety of things. We do look at, you know, tracking and data in the environment, and we have a number of buoy systems, which I've actually had a lot of requests lately about data. So if you're looking to add more data into your classroom, there are some great websites, but in particular, this one is connected to the NOAA buoy system. So if you would like to include some of that in your classroom, you can go right to the new NOAA buoy system. And we have some in Lake Michigan, including one right off of Atwater Beach. So you can get real-time data of what's going on there. Certainly with atmospheric sciences and climate, we're very involved. It's kind of hard to not be involved when you're looking at these large systems. So we do a lot of work there as well. In fact, the atmospheric sciences for UW Milwaukee has been on the main campus, but they are now moving into our building as well, just because we work with them quite so much. And certainly our one of our main areas is also Green Bay. It's, you know, kind of the perfect way to look at both the commercial, like agricultural aspects, as well as what's going on at the large lake. Sometimes people kind of forget that we do a lot of work with environmental health issues, drinking water issues, stuff like emerging contaminants where pharmaceuticals or microplastics are in water. So a lot of research there, as well as with aquaculture. A lot of work for 40 plus years has been with developing aquaculture programs that are used now more and more throughout the country. So that's kind of our research, you know, that we've been founded on since 1966. But certainly we have some other programs that we work on. And this fall, we are starting a new undergrad program, and there's been a lot of interest already. We were hoping for about 10 students, you know, based on what we had time for recruitment and that type of thing, but we have 20 incoming students for our undergrad program starting in the fall. And really a lot of them are coming certainly from places in Wisconsin, but some are transfer students, some are coming from a wide variety of places. So we're excited to start doing that so that those students can really get an experience starting out their careers with undergrad program. And then, I'm gonna pause because I thought I had one more with graduate schools or graduate students, because that is what we first started as a full graduate program in 2009. So we offer a professional science master's program, which for some teachers, that's, if you're interested in doing something that in freshwater sciences, that has been has worked well for some teachers. Otherwise, there is kind of more of a research track. So a thesis program for masters, and then we have a PhD program as well. And those students, you know, much like Kathy mentioned, you know, there's such a wide range of activities. Actually, both Kathy and Karen mentioned all of the different areas that you can go in water. You know, there, it really provides a lot of opportunities for them. And for our graduate students, we have a 90% job placement rate or higher, depending on the year. So it's really giving them a boost to going out and finding their careers. We talked briefly about the Freshwater Collaborative. And while there's a number of aspects to it, including research collaboration across the UW system, sharing of faculty and scientists, one of the things that is really exciting about it is a program where you can start at UW Stevens Point in a freshwater degree, and you will be able to do some semesters there, but then you may be able to study kind of abroad at another UW school. So you'll have an opportunity to go to UW La Crosse and study the Mississippi River and all the work there. And you can go there for a semester or a year and get all of their expertise. Or UW Green Bay or UW Milwaukee and come to the School of Freshwater Sciences. So you'll be able to take kind of the best of stuff in water. So that would be through the Freshwater Collaborative, and we're really excited about that program as well. But looking at a little closer some of the things that you can do for your students and be involved in, we do host 2 regional competitions. One is the ROV competition, which you see kind of a picture in the top middle. And that is for middle and high school students. They actually create their own business. They respond to a request for proposals of vehicles, and they're given a challenge. They have to then design the vehicle to meet that challenge, build it. They have to market it. They have to do a technical report. They have to present it to an engineering panel. So it really brings in a lot of different skills for the students, a lot of good leadership work. Hearing from some alumni of the program, including ones that came to UW Milwaukee, they've gotten scholarships just because they've been a part of that, or internships, because it really gives them a wide range of different skills. So that program, the actual competition for us happens in April, but many of the teams start working on things, at the beginning of the school year or end of the fall semester. Some we have start working on it like the month before, because that's the way students are, right? But it's a really great opportunity for students to get involved and connected to things. Then right below that, I have a picture of students at the Lake Sturgeon Bowl. We just had our 20th year of the Lake Sturgeon Bowl. It is a regional competition of the National Ocean Sciences Bowl, which is an academic quiz bowl set for high school students. And these students study everything that has to do with water, whether it is oceanography, physical science, marine policy, history, geography, technology. Anything is really fair game when it comes to that. And they come and participate here at the regional. Our regional, just based on where we are, we draw from a large area. We have teams that come from Iowa, Missouri, Illinois. I think that's the ones we've had recently. So it comes from, a wide range of students, and then the winners go on to the national competition for both of those competitions. But one of the favorite parts of the students when they get a chance to participate, much less in the competition, when you look at the pictures on either side, those are opportunities where they get to come in and talk directly with our scientists. And so they get a chance to tour our labs, get behind the scenes, really talk to the scientists about the work that they're doing. And that tends to be the most fun part of their experience. We bring them in, we give them pizza, and they get to explore the building. So it's a really great experience for the teams. One of the other programs I wanted to talk about was our UWM Water Ambassadors program. This is where our graduate students, and I'm hoping our undergrad will join as well as they come in, but our graduate students are working on their science communication skills. So they become my outreach team, and they go out into the classrooms. Sometimes we're doing hands-on activities in classrooms. Sometimes we're meeting classrooms at the beach to do activities. Sometimes like in the bottom right-hand corner, it might be presenting to your school if that's, what works best. But for your students, they get a lot of experiences and hands-on activities and get to talk with students who are a little closer in age to them. But for our students, it's really a great experience because they need to also know how to talk about their science to non-science people. And we go through doing some training with them on how to do that. And it gives them a chance to go out and make sure they have some experiences putting all of that knowledge into place. So I'm always really excited when we can send our water ambassadors out into the classrooms or into the field. The center picture where we're looking at a tank of fish, that is actually at the Harbor Fest activities that are going on, which will be happening again this year, right out on the street in front of our school. There's a large festival called Harbor Fest. And so that is September 19th. If you want to come down and check out all that's going on, it's with the Harbor District. There will be the Milwaukee Boat Parade as well, and Sturgeon Fest. So it'll be a huge, all kinds of crazy happening here at the building, and a great chance to see what's going on. So they're at all of those types of things as well. So it was kind of a quick one. We don't have huge amounts of time, but I did want to kind of go through that. We are always open to connecting with teachers and schools and seeing how we might be able to provide some expertise and connection to water for your students. So I'm happy to take questions.
Great, thank you, Liz. At this time, there are no questions in the chat, but if anyone has any questions, if you could just go ahead and let us know via the chat.
Awesome. So thank you, Liz. Just would extend a thank you for your presentation. Again, we're so fortunate to have the School of Freshwater Sciences here, and certainly all your excellent programs. I can't encourage any educators participating on Zoom today to reach out to you enough, because programs are fantastic. And with that, let's transition. I think between Kathy and Liz, we've kind of got the 2-year, the 4-year, and the graduate and the outreach covered a little bit, I guess. But our next presenter is Christina Taddy, and she is the Outreach Program Coordinator with MMSD. So a little bit more on the outreach end. So glad that Christina could join us. Christina.
Hi, thanks, Rich. And just confirming you can see my screen. All right, all set to go. So my name is Christina Toddy. I am an Outreach Program Coordinator here at the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District. And there we go. And so we are, as I mentioned, the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District, also known as MMSD, and we protect public health and the drinking water supply for millions in our area. And we do this through 2 main things. We treat your wastewater, and we do flood management. So we are a regional government entity. And the first one, your wastewater treatment, is we're one part in your water story. So when you flush the toilet, you take a shower, you wash those dishes, all that water goes down the pipe, goes through a whole series of pipes and comes to one of our water reclamation facilities, is what we call them, because we're reclaiming that water and cleaning it before we put it back out into Lake Michigan. The other thing that we do is flood management. So if you've been to our rivers, you might have seen there's a concrete lining in some of them, or there's lots of projects. We're working to minimize the flooding in neighborhoods. So we want to make sure that our rivers can handle that water. So we've been, over the last many years, pulling out that concrete, revitalizing the rivers, making them wider. And if you haven't, I would highly recommend going down to Pulaski Park, because that is a park that we just finished, one of these flood management projects, and you can see the concrete channel's been removed, the river's wider. You can kind of see where the water would go if there is a heavy rain. And you can look right across the bridge and you can see a future project we're doing, which is at 6th to 16th Street. And you can see that it's still concrete channelized. So those are our 2 main focus areas. So who do we serve? So this map on the left-hand side is our service area. So there's 1.1 million customers from 28 different municipalities. It's a 411 square mile area. And when it isn't raining, we can treat over 130 million gallons of water is cleaned each day. So how does that water get from your home or your school or your business to one of those water reclamation facilities? So it starts out and it comes down a private lateral. So that is the pipe from your house or your school or your home. And that is owned by the homeowner. Then it connects to another slightly bigger pipe that's owned by the municipality or your city. And then that pipe connects to an even bigger one that is owned by MMSD, which then they're all gravity operated, brings it down to one of two water reclamation facilities. We have one, Jones Island, which if you've driven over like the Hone Bridge, you can see that. And the second one is South Shore, which is in Oak Creek. And these are managed and operated by Veolia, who you're going to hear from in just a couple of minutes, is the contracted partner. So nationally, the average for cleaning and capturing water is 85%. And here in Milwaukee, we have 98.5%. So what that means is that when you flush your toilets, when any of that water comes into our pipes, we clean 98.5% of that. Every once in a while, you may have heard on the news, when we get a really heavy rain, especially, we sometimes have an overflow. And that's a very difficult decision for us to make when that needs to happen. The reason why we do that is to prevent basement backups, which would be a public health issue. But when you look at the whole, how much we're treating a fairly large amount of it, but we still are constantly wanting to improve and doing more projects to get that up to 100%. So I just want to give you a little bit of overview of who we are and what we do in case you weren't familiar with us. And now I'm going to dive into some of those educational resources that we have available for your students. And what I went over in the first 3 minutes, all of these experience will go much more in depth and answer all of those questions depending on what you're interested in learning more about. So first, we offer a lot of tours of our different facilities. So we have a central laboratory, which is downtown at our C booth location. And this lab runs 365 days a year. It tests over 120,000 samples every year as well. So we're very busy. It's the largest municipal wastewater treatment lab in the state. And we open this up to students that are interested to come and take a tour. It's usually about a 1-hour tour for high school students and up. Due to spacing, it really is a 10-person maximum. But if you have a bigger class, we could figure out a way to do the tour for an hour and then do a different presentation with them in a different part of our facility. Our lab is open morning and early afternoon, and this is free. We also have busing reimbursement if that's something that you were interested in bringing your students to tour. Next, we have our freshwater monitoring crew. And as I talked about, we test all these samples, but we have a crew of people that goes out and they collect those samples from the wastewater treatment facility, from different pipes that we have, and from just the lakes and our rivers. And they're collecting these samples so we can monitor how our facilities are doing, but also just how monitor the health of the lake and what we can do to help improve it. So we offer a tour on our Pelagos, and the Pelagos is on the right-hand side, there is our boat and it's our research vessel. And so we can take people out on tours. It's a 2-hour tour for high school students with a minimum of 1 biology class. 15 people, and we can only do this on Fridays. And that's just because this boat is in use to go out and do the sampling every other day of the week. So Fridays are the one day when we have that availability. We also give tours of the Jones Island Water Reclamation Facility. And I'm going to paused on that because Andy is coming up next, and she is the expert in this as they operate all those tours. So she will give you more information, but I just am putting it out there. It's free, and we have busing reimbursement as well.
Wow.
Then I want to go into the environmental education initiative. So this is something that we know that we need to get students near water, to get them excited, to help them learn, to help them really become fascinated and maybe want to go into a career in water in the future, or just become a steward of our waterways. So we have been partnering with local nature centers to offer classes for students that are free, where they can come and learn about water. So we have everything from kindergarten through high school classes. You can go to we have everything from Schlitz to Mequon to Urban Ecology Center. So you can reach out and find an entity and get this water-based programming. You can either take a field trip there, and again, that field trip busing is reimbursed, and it is a free activity as long as it's a water-based program. But we also, a lot of these partners have started offering virtual opportunities. So depending on where your school is at or where your classroom, if you would like to just have a virtual nature center educator come in and talk to your class, we can do that as well. And we also have, if you can't go on a field trip, but maybe you want to do water monitoring, we have some entities like Milwaukee Riverkeeper that will come into your classroom and do some water monitoring in the classroom with you. So those are all different opportunities. I'm going to put the website up at the end of my presentation so you can find that. But on our website, we list all of the different organizations, what age group they serve, and you can reach out to them directly and just let them know that you're interested in the MMSD funded opportunities. So new this year, we are starting a youth council, and we haven't been as involved with high school students, and that's something that we're really trying to grow. And we also want to get more youth engaged to help grow that workforce. So we will be having a youth council. It's going to launch in September. We are having it be juniors and seniors, or anyone who's working for their GED. They're committing to a one-year term. They're coming to monthly meetings. And through this, they're going to be learning about the urban water cycle, the natural water cycle. They're going to have field trip opportunities. There's leadership components built in. We're going to learn about careers within the water sector and just ways that they can be a steward. And then we're going to have them encourage others to be a steward through community service project. And this is something that they create, and we've worked with a lot of the different districts in the area, and this will work for their community service hours. So if you have a student that needs to complete a service project, we're more than happy to work with them to make this fit that. We are reviewing applications on a rolling basis, but we're hoping to have everyone have the council set by August 15th. And there is a bit.ly link that links to the application. If anyone is interested or knows anyone, I have a flyer and I'm happy to send that along as well. This is for anyone who lives in that MMSD service area. So as you saw that big map in the beginning, anyone who lives anywhere in that area can apply and be part of it. The meetings will take place in Milwaukee, but we will have travel reimbursements if that is an issue for anyone in being able to get here. Next, we do lots of classroom presentations and events. So depending on what you're looking for, we're more than happy to come into your classroom. We can bring different experts from every area of our organization. We can bring people from the lab and monitoring to engineers who are redesigning our rivers. So we can do career talks, we can do hands-on activities, we can do Q&As. Pretty broad, and we're willing to work with you as to what it is that you would like to have your students get experience in. The one other thing I want to mention is that we've been starting a One Water, Our Water campaign, and you hopefully will start to see this around town, and all of the presenters here are actually part of this. And if you go to onewaterourwater.com, this has some videos and activities that is really an introductory step for anyone who's interested in learning about water and just realizing how water intersects with every part of our life. It's where we live, it's where we work, it's where we play. And I think people sometimes forget that, right? They don't think about how they're using water in their everyday life. So this campaign is really to start that conversation. There's lots of great videos on there, connections to different organizations, and we'll be having events in the near future that connect people to think about how they use water in their everyday lives. So be on the lookout for that as well. As I mentioned, these are our resources. So you can go to MMSD.com and it is under the What We Do section. There's a water education resources. So I encourage you to check that out. All of the information I talked about today is on that website. But if you have any questions or if it's easier and you can't find it, feel free to reach out to me. My email address is there. I also can put my phone number in the chat, but I'm happy to connect you with any of those resources. Yeah, so that is all I had today.
Thank you so much, Christina. It just looks like one question came in through the chat. Mara C, I believe, is that how you say your name? If you want to go ahead and speak up. And you can just unmute yourself. I see you're unmuted right now.
I was just curious if any of the programs or companies here collaborate with Indigenous communities. I was just curious. I've been reading a book called Braiding Sweetgrass, and I was just wondering.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I can answer that from MMSD's perspective. We do collaborate with a lot of the tribes based on different projects that we do. So we have different projects throughout the community, and depending on what land it's on, we collaborate with different tribes. We also have worked some with different populations based on the education that we have. So if there's different groups, we can tailor it to what they're interested in.
Great, and that's all we have right now for the chat.
Fantastic. So thanks so much, Christina, just excellent. Similar to Liz, I can't encourage any of our educators that are on the Zoom today to reach out to Christina and MMSD directly to tap into those resources. Just fantastic. The new Youth Community Initiative really is an exciting opportunity, I think, for high school students. So really cool. All right, moving on. Really excited to welcome back from Veolia, Andy Nealand, who is the Communications and Community Relations Manager, batting cleanup. So Andy, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I apologize if there's noise. We live about 5 blocks from Fiserv Forum, so you can imagine there's a lot of background noise going on. So hopefully you feel like part of the parade right now.
Awesome.
As Rich mentioned, and as Christina alluded to, I work for Veolia, and we are privileged to be the partner to MMSD, and we managed and we're contracted by them to operate, manage, and maintain the 2 wastewater plants, the conveyance system, where Christina talked a little bit about how the water gets down to the different plants, and then also the deep tunnel system. So we are a wonderful partner and collaboration with them, and I work with Christina extensively, which is always a pleasure. So I'm here to talk a little bit about 3 different things. The tours that we offer, and then Christina alluded to some events that are coming up under that One Water, Our Water umbrella, so I'll touch on that as well. So we do offer tours of the Jones Island Water Reclamation Facility. You can see our pretty plant here. In 2020, we added a virtual tour option. So we do now we've opened back up to in-person tours, but that virtual tour will always remain an option for groups. During both different types of tours, you're going to learn the different stages of the wastewater treatment process. You'll see how Milorganite is made, which is very exciting for more of the adult groups, and maybe that students in college. The kids don't really understand what it is, but it's still kind of neat to see. And then for all ages, we have the ability to kind of customize a discussion around water jobs. And again, we say customized because depending on how old the groups are, we want to make that talk relevant. So our in-person tours, really what you can expect is, as Christina said, we do have some busing reimbursement available. So we welcome groups from 10 to 50 people to come onto the Jones Island Water Reclamation Plant. If there's inclement weather, we can use a bus to drive around and explain the process. Or what's even better is to get up close and personal and really get those hard hats and safety glasses on and really explore those 4 stages of the wastewater process. So we tend to limit it to 5th graders as our youngest audience, just because of the technicality of what we're talking about. And we've also found out that 5th grade is really when most students start learning that water cycle. So 5th grade and up, these are free tours. You schedule them through Veolia. We have wonderful tour guides that facilitate the whole process. And we usually ask for the in-person tour that you would allow for about 2 hours. Then, as I mentioned, we added a virtual tour. So really it's a behind the scenes video that you'll watch. It's still facilitated by one of our tour guides or myself. So we try to make it as personal as possible, even though it's on the screen. And then after the video, we take live question and answer. Again, we can talk about the water careers overview. We have a presentation queued up and ready to go at any time to add that into your experience, scheduled through Veolia. And these typically take about 1 hour of time. And so for the groups who can't really get here on site, this is a great option. Kind of a hybrid option that we started is the idea of one of the tour guides or myself coming into your classroom or your location, where we might still show that video tour, but then that question and answers in person. And I find that it's a little bit easier and a little more personal to conduct it that way. So that's also kind of a hybrid model that we could offer as well. Then Christina touched on our One Water, Our Water. I wanted to let this group know that we do have a job fair coming up that we expect to be in person. And it's part of a larger water equity task force, which many of you are probably involved in, or many of the presenters on this call. So again, it's bringing awareness to the variety of jobs that we have here in the Milwaukee water sector, not just in the wastewater, but in the entire water cycle. And again, it's really part of an effort to address those barriers of entry and serve the people that are in historically underserved communities. And then it's a collaboration between Milwaukee, MMSD, Milwaukee Waterworks, Veolia, and also the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. And so who should attend? Who is this made for? Really job seekers who want to learn more about the careers that are there. I know several presenters talked about the path through education and a lot of those different jobs that are out there. One thing that we're going to touch on a little bit heavier here at Veolia is really the skilled and technical trades that people don't necessarily think of in the water industry. Machinists, electricians, all those types of general labor positions. They don't scream water when you think about them, but we rely on the trades for sure to do what we do and to protect the water in our region. So definitely another alternative for students who may not see a 4-year career that might not be attractive to them, but trying to get an apprenticeship or go into a technical skilled trade for students who like to work with their hands. We find this to be a really viable and sustainable career for them. So we're going to try and support that during this job fair as well. We will have opportunities for high schoolers, probably high schoolers late in their high school years, to learn about careers probably that they could enter within the next year to 4 years. And then it's in October. We have not set a date yet, but you can sign up to receive more information. And with that event, we plan on holding that a little later in the day, so students who are in high school could possibly, attend after they're finish up their day. So again, I'm going to advance one here, and you'll see this second point here, to receive updates on that. Use that link. It's a real short form, just so I can capture and have permission to email you information. So if you would like to sign up to learn more, just click on that link and fill out that brief form. And then to schedule a live or virtual tour, you can do that through Veolia. So I've provided the link there. And then if you have any other questions above and beyond, I've provided my contact information as well. So with that, I'll pause and see if there's any questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy. I don't think we have any questions from the chat at the moment, but really appreciate sharing that with us. I can't recommend the Jones Island tour to our educator friends enough, whether you want to do that virtually or in person. I've had the opportunity to be on a couple of those, and students do seem to really enjoy it, and does get them thinking about the whole process. And the One Water, Our Water initiative sounds really cool as well. So thanks so much, Andy.
Absolutely. Do you want me to stop sharing, or you want me to just advance for you?
Well, I'm going to turn it over to Maureen at this point, so I'll let Maureen make that call. But certainly on behalf of myself, I just want to thank all the attendees and presenters, but we're not quite done yet. So Maureen.
Great, thanks, Rich. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. So my name is Maureen Hager. For those of you that haven't met me, I'm the Communications and Program Manager for STEM Forwards. I work really closely with Rich, and really excited to put on this presentation today, and hopefully give you resources that maybe you weren't aware of, or maybe had forgotten about, or some new things that we learned today. So just a couple of follow-ups though for next steps. Please go ahead and visit our website. I'll go ahead and put the recording and then the full presentation up on our website. Sorry, one second here. I apologize, I accidentally hit my keyboard. Okay, I'm so sorry. But please go ahead and follow up by checking our website for that copy of the presentation and the recording, and if you'd like to share it with anybody. And then also another next step would be to reach out directly to our presenters and utilize the resources and the websites that they're providing. As you could hear, they're all very willing to share. They're all excited about water, and anything we can do to help enhance your teaching in your classroom, we'd love to help. With regards to STEM Forward, if you are interested in our K-12 STEM outreach programs, Rich mentioned we have a variety of programs for different ages. You can once again go to our website, but you can take a look at the different competitions and outreaches, or we've got something called a Day of STEM, where we match up a STEM professional and bring them into the classroom and to interact with K-12 students, and really help you bring your curriculum alive and connect with a STEM professional. And last but not least, we'd love to have you continue to be engaged with us. So we encourage you to follow us on social media. So we're active on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and even Pinterest. And you're also welcome if you'd like to sign up for our newsletter to hear about upcoming things. Rich touched on this briefly, but we wanted to put a plug in for any of the that are maybe golfers that we do have our annual scholarship fundraiser program, and that's coming up soon in about 3 weeks on August 12th at Morningstar Golfers Club. And all are welcome, but we'd love to see you and join us for the day of fun, especially for those that would love to golf and spend a day outside yet raise money for a great cause. So at this time, I just wanted to open up if anyone had any other questions or comments before we wrap up. Doesn't sound like it. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much on behalf of STEM Forward and all of our presenters. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day. We hope you learned something. And once again, check back at our website to have access to all the resources discussed today.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the day in your summers.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.